So, we are calling this meeting to order. This is a special meeting of the Leach Library Board of Trustees, which is being held on Thursday, July 9th at 7 o'clock in the Moose Hill Council Chambers at Londonderry Town Hall, 268B Mammoth Road, Londonderry, New Hampshire. And this meeting will be recorded for later viewing on the Londonderry NH Government Access YouTube channel. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Very good. As is becoming customary for me, I would like to read the mission for the Leach Library. And the mission of the Leach Library's mission is to provide materials, information, and services for community residents of all ages to meet their personal, educational, and recreational needs. We do have a consent agenda, and I'll ask for approval. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes? Okay. So I actually have heard from several of you that you are not available on Thursday, August the 6th. So I wanted to know how we felt about changing the date on that meeting, which of course is always contingent upon dates that are available. So Donna, if you can shed a little light on that.
Yes, so that week, this room is not available another weeknight, the Monday through Thursday. But I do have some availability for either the week before or the week after. Do you want me to go through the list?
Yes, but I can't speak for the entire board, but I don't think I'm very excited about having 3 meetings in the month of July. So let's move
Maybe
into,
August.
Am I right? We'll move into August. I'm seeing a nod of the heads.
Okay,
Yep.
so there are 2 options for the week following in August, either Monday, August 10th or Thursday, August 13th.
Thursdays are hard for Azra because she works.
I am unavailable August 13th. I am available August 10th.
What's the board's pleasure? August 10th?
I can do either.
Jan?
10th would be
Yep.
fine.
Laura?
Could I just ask a question?
Yes.
Would it be possible to make that the one meeting in August instead of having 2? Instead of assuming we're going to have 2?
It depends on, I mean, we have a lot of work to do, Jan. As you know, we're behind on a lot of things. We're just now getting into the hiring of the director. I would say let's schedule it based on on time available, and if need be, we can always cancel it. That's what I think.
Okay.
Moira, are you available on the 10th?
10th works for me as well.
Okay. Miriam, you said yes? Beth?
Yep.
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 Okay. Sounds like August the 10th?
7 p.m.?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay, and then what are the next dates available?
You needed another one?
For August?
Oh.
You have
The one you have now is August 20th.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Oh, I beg your pardon. Thursday, August the 20th. You're right. It's already on the calendar. All right, so I'm going to make that adjustment on the consent agenda that August the 10th is going to be our next meeting, regular meeting. Okay. With that said, may I please have a motion for the consent agenda
I make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
with the change of the meeting from,
Yes,
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
With the change of the meeting from August 10th from August 6th to Monday, August 10th.
Yep, very good. That's a motion by Erica. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Beth. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay,
I'm opposed.
I heard you. I got your hand. Very good. 1 opposition.
Thank you.
Okay, that brings us to public comment. Is there anybody here for public comment? Well, that's disappointing. Okay, let's go right into staff reports. We'll start with you, Donna.
All right. I apologize. I did not end up getting you my written report, but I do have it in front of me, and I will get it to you after the meeting. I'll also add it to the agenda so it's publicly available. As I mentioned, July is our craziest month, even on a normal basis, but with all the building stuff, it's been even more so, at least from my perspective. So I appreciate all of your patience with me in particular, but I'll say for the staff in general too, because a lot is happening all at the same time. For announcements, and I will go into some of these a little bit again with the building update, but wanted to share that mainline plumbing did have to come back because we had another leak under the kitchen sink after it was fixed. Turns out it was just a matter of a part that should have been installed as a plastic part was installed as a metal part. They made the change, no cost to us since it was their mistake. So that is officially handled. While they were there, I did ask them to look at the restroom that's kind of across from the reference desk in the main reading room, because and it's been some time that we've been noticing that the toilet is just flushing very slowly. We constantly have issues with that one in terms of it being blocked, and we have to plunge it. And so I asked them to look at it. They did, and highly recommended that we replace it. Mainly they can tell that it's age-wise needs to be replaced, but I think with so many fixes over time too, they were like, none of the parts, like some of the parts that are in it don't really belong in it, and it's just a whole thing. They also recommended, because they were also looking at the children's room toilet handle, and they recommended replacing that one as well. However, the quote I'm presenting tonight is only for the one in the main reading room. My suggestion when we get there is going to be to consider, there's 6 toilets total in the library. My suggestion is going to be to replace 3 of them now. The 3 public ones upstairs that get the most use. Because we've learned, especially with the toilets for some reason, once one thing starts going, then there's the next one, because they're all about the same age. So that's going to be my recommendation when we get there, just so you're aware. The electricians were on site due to the vote you had to give us a budget for changing all bulbs and for cleaning the light fixtures that have collected bugs and stuff over time. So they took care of that. It was significantly under budget. You gave us $5,000. It was 2,000 something and change.
Ooh, that's good
So,
news.
Yes, that was great. REARC has been hard at work with all the vendors, kind of scheduling them, overlapping it at once. But towards the beginning of June, they did finish installing the rental units that supplement the cooling in the building and are helping with the humidity. And the staff are definitely noticing a difference compared to what we usually experience this time of year with the humidity. So I think they're working pretty well. There are 5 units.
There's 4 upstairs.
4 upstairs, 2 dehumidifiers downstairs. Thank you, Megan. So they're all doing their jobs, and they'll be there through the summer. They were part of the funding that we requested most recently from council for phase 2A. So that funding will cover this summer's rental and next summer's rental. Johnson Controls was also on site. They replaced the remaining emergency light batteries that you'd previously approved the expense for. While they were there, they also recommended, we have 4 emergency lights that are glass that they recommend replacing with plastic, mainly because not only are they outdated because they were installed when the addition was built, but he said that going forward, it's going to take 2 people to replace batteries in them because they're so heavy. They did bring the second person at their expense this time, but going forward, they would be charging us labor for 2 people. So it makes more sense cost-wise to replace them. I don't have a quote yet. I do expect to have one possibly for the next meeting. He's putting it together. I also, at the end of June, submitted some additional paperwork for our CIP projects. That was mainly, it's like a priority worksheet to give the committee some more information about where our projects should fall with everyone in terms of priority. I also submitted all of the paperwork for our 3rd project, which I brought up to you, regarding the children's room addition for a program space. So that has also been submitted. And as I emailed you, our presentation to the CIP committee has been postponed until August 18th. Their meeting starts at 6 p.m. I'm not sure where we would fall on the agenda that night, but we will be presenting that night if anyone would like to be there.
What was the date again? Sorry.
August 18th. I believe that's a Tuesday.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You said 18th, right, Donna?
Yep.
Yeah.
I left out some of the moving and the carpet stuff that's happening. I will give you an update in the building update, but I did want to share that over the we had the most recent rain event. Our entryway leak did start leaking again, but honestly, it was kind of a good thing because it's been frustrating that we've had rain and it hasn't leaked, and we're trying to get REARC to investigate why it's happening. So it finally happened when they could be there, and they brought the roofers out right away and investigated it. They traced it back to rooftop unit 1, which is the big unit. It seems like E&E was on site today to actually open it up and look at it further. It does look like it's condensate drain and line related. But I didn't get a full report from him yet, but he did mention there's more concerns than just that. I just don't know the details yet.
Okay.
So that's coming.
I don't think I want any more.
So the units that we're renting for the HVAC,
Yeah.
we are not using them for the winter?
No, we will. Am I wrong about that? I don't think they were intended to supplement heating. It was more an issue of the humidity because we knew that the rooftop units weren't doing anything for humidity.
Okay.
So for the winter, I don't think that they'll be needed.
Well, my concern was we talked about the fact that the feeling was that the units were all in pretty bad shape, and now again we're having another leak from one of the really in bad shape units. I wonder why we're not just continuing to use those and going with the more energy efficient ones and using those and and discontinuing the use of what we currently have arrayed on the building.
So the rental units will not replace, like if we were to just turn off the rooftop units, they will not replace the work of the rooftop unit. They're only there to supplement and try to help with how they're not functioning very well. So they definitely, like for example, for the winter, they would not be enough. It would be a bigger cost to get more units to handle a heat situation.
So I guess as a follow-up, my concern is our current vendor has not seemed like they were keeping up with where we were with the units that were in poor shape. Now we're going another year with the units being in poor shape. What are we going to do to prevent? What additional maintenance should we be putting into the maintenance line for additional expected repairs for our old, not functioning well units going forward, assuming that we continue to have problems with them?
So we are going to talk a little bit about that under the budget because the committee we reviewed the maintenance line and considered some of that, but there's also the most recent funding. The most recent funding that went to council is for the engineering, mostly the engineering costs and our supplemental needs to make it through until we can get what will likely be a warrant article on the ballot for funding to replace the units.
Right.
So I'm going to say that again under the budget. But we do know that not even just considering the HVAC situation, that there's we've had the same maintenance budget for, I can't even tell you how many years. I'd have to look back quite a ways. So the recommendation from the ad hoc committee is going to be to ask for an increase in the maintenance line, just knowing that this, if anything, is a really good justification for needing to get to a place where we're more properly funded when it comes to maintenance.
So if I may, so additionally, Jan, if you talk to people, and I'm sure you've talked with people as well that are familiar with the library, they will tell you that those units that we have on the top of that building now have long outlived their purpose, and all of them need to be replaced.
I understand that.
But what I'm getting to is, I mean, how are we gonna live between now and then? So we're going to have to somehow, some way take care of them. And, you know, to me, it will be pitiful if we invest all of this money in the library and we don't replace those units and we have trouble with them again, and we're in the same boat in a year with leaks and water all over the place. So in addition to increasing the maintenance line this year, I also think that we need to start thinking about a maintenance trust fund to take care of our building.
We should
Because
think about proposing that.
as you all know, buildings cost money. And this one sadly seemingly has been neglected for quite some time, and we are paying the price. So anyway, go ahead, Donna.
Yes. And there was another portion of Jan's question I did not answer
Oh, I'm sorry.
regarding our current vendor. So the board currently has a contract that was voted on by the board for the current year. But I believe you would be looking at that again sometime in the fall. So if it is a request from the board for when we get to that point to look for other options, then we can certainly do that,
At that
whether it's
point.
me or new director or what have you.
Okay, very good. Anything else under staff reports? Oh, yes, go ahead.
Still staying with the HVAC. So have we fixed the problem with the non-working one in the historical room?
No, there's no fixing it. It has to be replaced. It's not functional anymore.
Okay, so is there, what would be the cost to fix that, to replace that, just that?
It's on I'd have to look for it. CIP, would we put that in? Second one? No, first one.
No, the second, both the second one are children, so I think I'd be the first one.
I don't want to hold us up, so
I was just gonna say, well, we'll
gonna
move
write it
on
down.
and you can search for that. How's that?
It,
Okay.
I will note that it hasn't been operational since 2012.
I know, but the problem is
It-
degradation of the materials and
Just
things
a-
like that.
Just
No,
a
I
year or
understand.
two.
I was just making the
Yeah.
point that it hasn't been operational, but it was put into the CIP, replacing the others at the same time.
Okay, anything else under staff reports?
Yep, there's more to mine.
Okay.
An update from the Friends. They have 4 members who volunteered to serve on our grand reopening committee, along with some staff, and graciously also Nancy offered on behalf of the board. So I'm glad we have a group that will be focusing on planning something to celebrate our reopening. We don't have a solid date yet, but
Yep.
plans will be happening. I've also, just so you know, specifically asked to not be involved in that so that I can focus on actually getting us reopened. So they can do the fun part. The Friends will also be sharing a booth with us at Old Home Day. I did apply for a booth for us. And I did want to share that they do not have a meeting in July. They're meeting next in August. And then let me see what else, if I had anything else important. I wanted to note just that ordering is currently paused due to us transitioning to a new fiscal year, as is per usual for us. The only exception for that is any books that still have to come through that fall under the insurance claim from 2024. We didn't want to pause those so that they keep coming in, since we're under a deadline to get those in and paid for. I just had some adult programming numbers to share as well, that this is for May, that we had 75 people attend programs in total. I will say May is generally a really tough month for us programming wise, I think, because kind of the end of school year is approaching and there's just a lot on everyone's plates for planning for summer as well. But even still, we had people interested in showing up for programs. And Becca asked me to highlight an upcoming program at the Senior Center next week on the 15th at 6:30. It's Introduction to Beekeeping.
Introduction to?
To what?
Beekeeping.
Oh, beekeeping.
You
Yep.
said that was 7:15 at 6:30?
Correct, at the Senior Center. And I also just wanted to note that she had a really great turnout at her Aquaba performance, and really grateful for everyone that came, and of course to everyone who sponsored in our grant funding that made it possible. That was amazing. Also for children's, we have the concert on the Common for Kids coming on Saturday, this Saturday the 11th. That's at 1:30, featuring Matt Heaton and the Outside Toys, which we co-sponsored with the Arts Council. The Friends are also paying for our half, so they are sponsoring as well. Hope to have a good turnout. The weather looks pretty good so far. Hoping it stays that way. And I feel like I'm missing something else. Oh, I wanted to note too, on this past Monday, we had a story time program at Sensory Seekers in Hudson, our new museum pass that the Friends sponsored. They actually sponsored us doing this event as well, and that went really well. We had a combination of families who had been there before, but also families that hadn't and didn't know about our pass yet. So it was a really great opportunity to promote that pass too.
Wonderful.
And actually have a play space to offer, which was amazing. Anything you wanted to mention for Teen, Megan?
So one of the fun upcoming programs that we're having is going to be Moose Hill Movie Night. We're going to do that as a summer series, but our next one is Hamilton. So all our Hamilton fans, it'll be in here on the 3 screens, and it gives it like a surround sound effect.
Yep.
So it's going to be really fun. We have some other fun things going on too, but that's the really exciting one that we're doing next.
Okay.
Or
Very good.
next movie.
I just had 2 reminders as well. Summer hours are in effect until Saturday, September 12th.
Yep.
And the library will be closed for Old Home Day on Saturday, August 15th,
Yep.
but we'll be on the Common, so come see us there. That's it for reports.
Very good. All right. Any comments or questions for Donna?
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Okay, Azra is not here, but by chance, is there a treasurer's report?
I don't have one.
Okay,
specifically,
no, that's right.
I do have balances if you would like them
Sure.
on behalf of the treasurer.
Yep.
So we did get the bank statements. So these balances are as of June 30th. So the book account balance was $2,168.73.
Mm-hmm.
And the trustee account balance is $48,788.09.
Very good. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Since we don't have a treasurer's report, we will move on to committee reports. And Beth, I understand your committee's been hard at work.
My committee,
Budget?
I was not at this
Oh, okay.
week's,
Oh, that's right.
but,
You want to
I
give her?
was there.
Okay, perfect.
Sure. I can pull up those minutes.
Yep.
So the ad hoc financial committee met last night to go over the remaining line items for the proposed budget for fiscal year '28. Azra, Donna, and I met right over in the Sunnycrest room. So we prepared the remaining proposals, discussed what information would go in there. We'll discuss this more in more detail when we go over the
Yep.
proposed budget in a little bit, but we took care of that. We also discussed, and some of those line items are tricky, like legal is a tricky line item, but we'll get to that. We discussed an update on Citizens Bank, because getting the missing deposit slips with signatories, having transitioned out is a hassle. Azra did send me a message to let you know that they are apparently now able to provide a bunch of the missing
Oh,
slips,
okay,
so
good.
we're overcoming that hurdle. But she also was preparing to pick up an official letter detailing the situation to be able to bring to the board so that we have documentation of what the current gaps are in our record keeping and what we are doing to remedy the situation.
Perfect.
And then Don also noted that Colleen is finishing reconciling all the records, so is likely going to be able to give us a list of items that are missing and what can be accounted for, things like that. So thank you very much, Colleen, for the work you're doing on helping us get that straight. We affirmed some of the plans for being able to organize trustee donations in our record keeping. The NHLTA membership issue needs to be just a note that the bundle person for this is usually the chair or the director. Azra has information on how to resolve the membership for this year and then for being able to address that in the future after a director has been hired. We traditionally have a board member be the bundle person for the membership, but it may make more sense having the director fill that role in the future. So that's a thing that will be discussed in the future. And then the only other item that we went over was the discussion about possibly proposing the initiation of the process to consider hiring another member of the staff for the library, what position we would want that to be, and why we would want to do that now in the midst of all of these expenditures. The consensus from the ad hoc committee was that while the timing is not amazing because we are spending so much money, right now it is also highlighting just how very stretched thin the staff is. And in particular, a couple of roles, the role that we sort of settled on as being of the highest priority for this position would be an executive assistant, or particularly someone who serves as an administrative and communications specialist. Someone whose job it would be to do things like who would have had the job of building a website for providing the public with information about the building project, providing updates on timelines and things like that, so that it's not falling just to Donna and it's not falling just to these meetings. Somebody who can take on a bunch of the admin work that sucks away so much of the time that our staff has to be able to actually fill their responsibilities. So what we discussed is that something like this would be amazing to be able to, excuse me, better support our staff and the community. It would allow the staff who already do amazing work to do even more phenomenal work. It would potentially not be an overly expensive position because this would not necessarily need to be an MLS person. But it would also, the advantage of starting that process now is that even if we look later on and say this is, in a couple of months and say, wow, this really is not feasible financially for our town right now, it allows us the opportunity to say, this is something we are going to want to do.
Sure.
We would like to start laying the groundwork to be able to pursue this in the future when the timing is a little more appropriate. So that's the committee update. Do you want to add anything, Donna?
Very good.
I have some more to add. I don't know if you want me to wait until I had it under the budget.
Okay.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah, let's wait until
Okay.
budget. Yep, okay. And then, does your committee have anything to report tonight?
No, that's the committee I'm on.
I thought you were are you on personnel too?
We are,
Oh, yeah, we haven't done-
personal, but we haven't
we
been
haven't
meeting
met.
because of
Yeah, because of
status
union
quo.
negotiations.
No worries,
Yeah,
okay.
sorry.
So the only thing that you and I have to report about bylaws is that we still have our meeting scheduled for July the 22nd at 6 o'clock. Do we have a room yet, Donna?
I believe I booked you a room. Yes, I will have to make sure though. Let's see if it's available.
Oh, and the ad hoc, sorry, real quick, on the ad hoc financial committee, our next meeting is next Wednesday, 7:15, I believe that is, at 7 PM in the Sunnycrest meeting room. And that is open to the public.
Yes, the bylaws committee has Sunnycrest at 6 p.m. That is directly before the regular meeting, just so you're aware. At 7.
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
Okay.
Yep, very good. We'll have to talk fast.
We are so good at that.
All right, very good. Okay. Presentations and discussions. More building update.
Building updates. Okay, I'm going to my notes.
It's all we ever talk about now, you know?
So the positive news is that the movers have already been to the library, and the phase 1 moving of everything off of the carpet is complete.
Good.
So everything is looking very empty and strange right now. But you'll see, actually, you can even see from outside the building, like everything's stacked up to the windows and there's stuff crammed everywhere. But they made it work so that we didn't need to expend any money for storage offsite, which is great.
Oh, that's even better.
It
I like
is.
that.
Yeah. I did learn this week from REARC that they're still experiencing a delay with the carpet manufacturing. However, the hope, and I didn't hear any confirmation today, unfortunately, but the hope is that it was going to be on the truck today or tomorrow, with a latest arrival date of the 17th. REARC did say that they believe they can still stick to the tentative schedule that I shared with you all, even despite that further delay. Bob was also on that call and really encouraged them to put some pressure on them to speed up that process a little bit. And so I hope that will work.
You're talking about Bob Slater?
Bob Slater, yes. Yeah.
He can be persuasive.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Slater.
Yeah, we appreciate it. He knows how important it is.
Yep.
The main reading room collection, I think I shared an email with you, is currently unavailable until the whole carpet project is complete. So those items, in terms of like the public seeing them in our catalog, they just won't show up in our catalog. However, we are relying heavily on GMILK's library holdings to send items here for patrons to pick up hold-wise. I know that is tough kind of timing because the summer everyone wants their beach reads and vacation reads, and the most popular ones right now and our really popular ones aren't necessarily on the shelf, but what is good is that where we've been at LPD for a little while, all the browsing over there is our newest stuff, so that remains available. The friends also were very generous and offered. I haven't brought it to you to accept yet because they haven't actually paid anything yet, but they gave another $1,000 over the summer for us to buy the hottest titles that will just be available to our patrons at LPD. And so they have their own cart of stuff, which is great. It also kind of promotes the friends a little more and how they're helping. So I think that's all around a good thing.
To the friends.
Yes.
Yes.
Very much.
The children's room collection is available, and it actually was even available sooner than I thought it would be, and it's going to be available longer than I thought it would be. REARC really doesn't expect there will be much time that staff has to stay out of the building. We've been able to work in the children's room. There's still the computers and everything that we need work-wise. We also temporarily moved the photocopier, so we have copying and printing ability, which is great. And also thanks to Jen, because it's currently in her office and taking up her space. But we're making it work. So the children's room will really, the only time it will be unavailable to us again is during carpet cleaning, which should take place after the carpet replacement is done. Painters are expected to return on Monday to finish up painting. I did learn that they've expanded the painting scope a little bit, and this is a covered expense to include the tech services office.
Oh, nice.
When they went in to get everything out of there for the carpet replacement, they removed some of the built-in furniture and it kind of destroyed the wall a little bit. So that's all patched up, but they said we should really just paint the whole room. So they are going to take care of that, which is
Nice.
great.
Lovely.
Good.
Also on Monday, they are scheduled to come back to do the additional roof testing. So the water test followed by an actual like X-ray scan of the roof. This does heavily depend on the weather. So far it's looking like it will work, but we'll see on Monday.
Monday, okay.
There's also a question. I don't know if the board wants to weigh in with an opinion. You're welcome to. The question from REARC to me at the moment is in terms of installing access panels in the lobby area. So the high ceiling in the lobby area is going to stay drywalled, mainly due to the cost of adding tiles there. But in exchange for keeping it drywalled, they are going to put access panels in so that we can actually get up there when there's a situation like a leak or what have you, instead of having to cut holes all the time.
Well, I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah. So they're recommending somewhere between 3 and 4. And the question is more of like, do we want it to be wood and have like a wood framing around it? It'll be more apparent that it's there. Or there's a metal option which will blend in a lot more, won't be as visible. But I mean, staff will know it's there. I also want to pose the exact location to Ricky at DPW because he's honestly the first one that usually shows up to go looking at something for us. So I feel like he'd be the best person to tell us, yep, we need one here and here and here. And so I don't know if he has a preference at the moment, but if you have a preference in terms of the aesthetic, happy
No,
to.
I don't know if the
Consider
board
it.
does. Go ahead.
The one that actually shows up might not be a bad thing from the standpoint that people know that we're working on it and we're trying to solve it. We've solved it, so we're providing access. I mean, that might not be a bad thing either, but otherwise.
Right. From my view, and I mean, unless the board feels differently, I think whatever you and you and your colleagues come back with, whether it's wood or metal or whatever, just whatever, I agree, so as long as people know that it's where it needs
Let's
to
do
go.
them in different colors.
Yeah, right.
You're the ones who have to
Nice
look.
Yeah.
bright highlighter yellow or something. Yeah.
So you and your colleagues decide, don't you all agree? And then we'll, okay.
Can we get one that changes color if it gets wet?
Yeah, that would be great. I would love that.
It will turn black.
No, we want it to instantly, as soon as the first drop gets on it, we want it
Yeah,
to change. Like
Warning.
the UV stuff, you
that's
know?
actually not a bad idea.
No, it's not a
That
bad
would be
idea.
great.
Okay.
I also just wanted to make you aware that some kind of to-dos on my plate before we reopen that are not under REARC, that would be like direct for us expenses, but also work that needs to get done. We need to get the elevator back in service, so that's on my list. And I will be scheduling that soon because I know that they tend to have to schedule out a little bit farther. I also will be bringing you a quote from our cleaning company. I would like them to do more of what I would consider a deep clean. So getting the nooks and crannies that they don't normally under our contracted service. Because I know, especially with the carpet being pulled up, there's going to be dust and all sorts of stuff. I'm also going to have them quote out a price for waxing the meeting room floor downstairs. It's been a little bit since that's happened, and I think it would look really nice when we
Yep.
reopen.
Yep.
The mold retesting is not falling under the REARC contract. That will be an expense for us. However, I have to look back, but I do believe it was factored into one of the figures we brought to council. If I remember right, I'll have to look back. I did get a quote already for that. It is not anywhere near the first 19,000. It's like 2,000 or 3,000. So I was
Oh, so you are bringing us a little good
happy
news
about
tonight.
that.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is that this time of year we usually attend to a gutter cleaning, so that I will try to get done before reopening too. So it's fine if it happens afterwards, but it's on my to-do list. And I think that is it for building right now, unless you had anything that I'm forgetting, Megan. 'Cause I know you've been over there.
So yeah, we ordered the furniture for the children, the teen section.
Nice.
So that's
That's very
scheduled to be
exciting.
delivered after the week of August 17th.
Okay,
So.
very good.
Excited about
Questions or comments from the board? No? Oh, very good.
So I just have a
Oh, yep.
question. Now that they've got the hot top down for the additional parking for the school district, how has that affected any, or do you think that will affect anything about your access to the side or that back entrance, will you have enough parking, et cetera, et cetera?
Sure. Megan.
So they have put the additional walkway paving in that goes to the upper parking lot. and it attaches right to the edge of where the emergency room, the emergency exit was, so it doesn't block anything for us. From what I understand, talking to Kevin, was that it's not going to be accessible to the public right now. But what they did is they moved the dumpster that's for the library onto that upper area.
Okay.
So that it gives us back parking space. So for us, we should be fine. But while they're doing the school department, they've taken over the right side for their office and trailer
Yeah.
for REARC. And I think they're using it like for the laydown area for that supply. So it's not going to be really in use right now by public.
I know the baseball folks were trying to figure out how to navigate where they park to get their kids over to the baseball now. So,
Yeah, it's basically the same as it was before. It just, you see the blacktop now, but you can walk through it, but you just, it's not going to be open for public parking.
okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Very good. Anything else?
That's it for building update.
Anything else from the board? All right, very good. We're going to move on to the budget.
All right.
You're up, Donna.
Okay. Yep, this is the one. So I did, after the ad hoc meeting last night, I sent out today the updated draft department budget. And I did make sure for the public that that is now attached to the agenda online.
Good,
So
thank
they
you.
can get to it as well. I first wanted to bring up warrant articles, just talk briefly about those. So I'm expecting or anticipating that we will probably have a warrant article related to the building, and specifically mostly for replacing the rooftop units.
Yeah.
Then it's potential that we will have a warrant article related to the union contract when that time comes. And Erica brought up that we talked about a potential ask for a new staff member. The town does have a, like, I'm going to call it just a paperwork process to go through to request a new position. So my ask tonight is just if the board is okay with me working on drafting all of that to bring to you for the July 22nd meeting, so that you could actually vote at that point if you want to move forward with it or not. My standing, very similar to what Erica already presented, is that I agree that maybe now is not the best time to ask, but I also would hate to wait another year without at least documenting the need and communicating the need to the town, because it will make it easier the following year when we want to ask for it again and we have this history of having noted that we needed it. So that's kind of where I'm coming from with that. We did talk about a couple other potential options. This is really the one we landed on that was highest priority. I will add that I have for a little while been holding on to an idea for generating some more revenue. And the reason why I haven't really brought it forward is because we just do not have the staff bandwidth for it. I really think that this position could help us either directly manage that opportunity ourselves, or manage that opportunity themselves, or free up management staff to focus more on that opportunity. So I want to make you aware of that. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I want to know. I'm pretty much just asking, do you want me to move forward with drafting the paperwork?
So, I mean, this is something we can do by consensus, I think. I think that, information is always helpful. And, we may or may not move forward with that particular position for the ballot in March of 2027, but it's always good to have information. From my view, obviously we need to get our director hired. That's priority number one. The next priority, actually, they're probably in the same line, is hiring our children's librarian, since the voters passed that 2 years ago. So, but I would certainly be open to information. Just because we have information doesn't mean we have to say yes or no immediately. So just by not, yep.
Well, the other thing is, with the program increases, I encourage a look at program coverage and library coverage while programs are happening. I think if you look at the number of staff members we have and the number that are required for programs when they're happening, that there may be a need for more coverage from that standpoint. So just, I would encourage a look at that, because I did some, just on this past year, some looking at that, those numbers, and it looks like on paper, there's not enough people to cover the regular library and the program stuff.
It's
So-
definitely having, it
So,
has its challenging days.
So if that's the case, then, maybe the administrative person is not the most priority. So if you really intend to increase programs, and you already don't have the staff to cover everything, or you're really close to not having the right people, enough people to cover everything, then, maybe that's another thing to look at. So maybe doing some numbers along those lines might give, and then you can give us an idea about,
Some information.
if not this, then this, or whatever.
And I did bring up as part of the committee discussion, potentially, we've asked for a full-time library technician previously that failed by warrant article. This was before the children's librarian. And that position would be able to offer the program coverage, would be able to offer the program facilitation even. So certainly that's another option.
I think the more information we have, the better.
Okay, so
That's just my perspective.
should I take that to mean I should draft the information for both?
Yes, yes, we'll look at it,
Okay.
100%.
If you have the capacity, yes, please.
Okay. Before I move on to operating budget, anything else you wanted to add about the warrant article situation?
No,
I
Not right
think
now.
that
We're a little
the
premature.
discussion about a maintenance trust or
Yep.
something
yeah,
Would be
along those
warrant article.
lines,
yep.
plus the HVAC. Go ahead.
Moira,
How many CIP projects are you submitting, and how many do you anticipate will go to warrant article?
So there are we've submitted 3 projects. I think the only one that will go to warrant is the one I've brought up already, regarding the replacing of the rooftop units. I don't know if it will be the full project or if we would end up breaking it up over a couple fiscal years, for example. Because in that project, there is more than just the rooftop units. But there are 3 projects total. The other 2 are both directly related to the children's room. I don't think that we're going to see them go to warrant right away.
anything else, Moira?
And what's the total on that, roughly, estimate?
On the 3 projects,
Yeah.
I would have to add them together.
You can give me the individuals if you have those two.
Okay.
That calculator.
Okay, children's room renovation project. Total cost estimate is $306,984. For the phase 2, which really now is like everything except 2A, we have a cost of $1,377,539. And the last one is, where's the last one? Addition. Children's room addition, which is the program room, $1,604,399.
$399?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else, Moira?
Nope.
Okay.
On to operating.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Would you like to just go line by line from the
Well, not gonna be here all night, but
kind of?
give us the highlights.
Yeah, I can give you some highlights. So I will say off the bat, there are 4 figures that are currently highlighted, mainly because I wanted to draw attention to the fact that I don't think they're the final numbers.
Okay,
I know for sure that the benefit-related ones, the short-term, long-term disability, and workers' comp, those are numbers that are provided later in the fall. So those will absolutely be adjusted later. So for right now, I just plugged in the same number as the fiscal year 27 for a no change there. And then the full-time salary line is really stumping me. So I'm working with finance on like a whole big spreadsheet of how we estimate salaries. And it keeps coming back at a 1% increase, which does not make any sense to me because it should be closer to like the 6.5 when you include merit and COLA. However, the numbers I'm plugging in are based on my recommendation that I'm bringing you tonight for setting a salary cap on the hiring of the director. So I know that there was a little bit of a decrease, but it shouldn't be that much. So I haven't quite figured out what's going on with that spreadsheet. I did ask finance for some more help on that. So that's why that number I don't think is the final one. And then custodial services, I am estimating a 3% increase, but I do want to get feedback directly from our vendor. So I'm working on that. So right now, overall, what we've come up with through the committee, we're looking at a 4.4% increase overall compared to FY27. Some of the things I wanted to note, you'll see I used the gray background color for some of the lines to highlight the new lines. So this is so you can see the difference in, the total if the line were kept the same, like with management services, but also what it would look like if we do break out those lines. And for programming in particular, I did speak with, Megan for teen, Jen for children's, Becca for adult, to see what they might need funding wise. Jen did note that with a part-time children's librarian coming on board, it would be great to have some more funding to focus on kids programming to work with. So that's where that increase is coming from. The adult programs, we kept the same. However, Becca is anticipating that once we start the winter reading program, that she may want this would represent the second year we do it. So she's anticipating that she'd want to make it slightly bigger than the first year. So that's why there's some more funding under other, because that would be an all ages incentive program. And teen, Megan, you can speak to if you want, but we put in 10% increase there.
Yeah, so we are seeing the teens coming back from COVID finally to being more sociable. And this would just help offer more programs that we traditionally haven't been able to have. Like this summer, we're having Leaping Lizards, an animal program, but really geared for that upper elementary teen group age group rather. And so just the opportunity to bring in more presenter and programs that might cost a little bit more, but we just didn't have it in our budget to offer that. So that was kind of where the 10% came, to see if we can try to offer more, including the nonprofit things that I can have come in, or the library planned programs. But this would just be able to offer more presentation style programs like the children's and adult do.
Yep, perfect, thank you.
I also wanted to know that in the actual management services line, there is a larger increase than normal there because the memo I brought to you when we were first thinking on CIP projects, there was a column of items that were things that I recommended we consider planning for in a future budget year. So I actually pulled some of those out to try to get into fiscal year 28. One of those was to expand our subscription to Assabet, which is our online system that manages things like museum passes, to add the module for room booking. So that would give the public more flexibility when it comes to actually booking a room in advance, like a study room, or even asking for the meeting room space online, which has been an ask for a long time. So that would be great if that could happen. And the other thing that was considered on here, I think, is more so under machinery and equipment. We would like to consider adding TVs to the study rooms so that people can easily connect their devices to it, like in here. There's definitely more of an expectation for us to be able to provide that. So that's why you see I tried to add the more lower cost items. Sorry, I'm getting...
Well, since you've done most of the talking so far
I know,
tonight.
yeah.
Well, I do have to say TVs have really dramatically reduced in cost over the years.
They have.
It's really shocking how much you can get a TV for.
As going to other libraries and in their meeting spaces, that is something that is you do commonly see in their meeting and study areas are TVs that you could plug in the switch
Right.
game and have like a little mini program in there, or have the meeting, do Zoom calls, things like that. So it is something that you are seeing more.
Yep.
It would be good that we looked at that also for the big meeting room, so that we're not just having one screen down one end, that we
Yep.
had some way of putting something in the middle so that there's better visibility.
Yeah, particularly if we have someone remote in.
Yeah, or turning the camera in such a way
Yeah.
that we're sideways instead of, if we had more monitors or whatever, it would give us more flexibility.
Couple other notes. Utility wise, we were originally considering a decrease for water. However, I just received a notice from Pennachuck that they're applying for an increase in rates.
Yep.
So we returned that to just no change instead of a decrease. And then you'll see that we talked over a 10% increase for maintenance, mainly due to all that's happened this
Yep.
year. Trying to think what else we need to go over. Books and periodicals. I have the breakdown for if we move funds into splitting it out to ebooks too. But the reason why the ask is bigger, so if you remember this budget season, our ask was actually $141,000, I believe, and a majority of the cut that we experienced came from that line. So it brought us down to 101, 199. While I don't necessarily want to ask for as much, especially if we're going to be cutting Hoopla, I do think we still, the spending wise, it's always it's always really tight. Like even this year we were extremely conservative and we still ended up being a little bit over budget. So I do really think it's needed. So that's why that number is there. And then I'm trying to think what else. I don't know if Erica, if you remember any other lines that.
I think the one thing that I think is good to start clarifying for the public and for the board and et cetera now is the printer thing.
Ah, yes.
Because the printer,
The printer.
yeah,
So we have two photocopiers that we have leases for. One is a staff copier, one is public. The staff one is paid for under the printing line. The public one is paid for under the maintenance line because that's where the money was to spend at the time, where we didn't have enough money in the printing line to cover both. So I'd really like to make the printing line actually be for both, which is, let's see, where'd we land on So the number that's on here right now, so the 44% increase, is to reflect it covering both
Yep.
photocopiers. I do know we were talking it over and thinking about how I think just the percentages tend to be the red flag during the budget conversation, and certainly we can explain this. But if the board more so wanted to make it a gradual increase, like $1,000 at a time or something, we can do that. But it is the more realistic ask.
Yep.
With that one.
I think Jan had her hand up.
So, a couple of things. So the maintenance, budget, the increase, would that include the deep cleaning that you're talking about? Or is that going to be an additional fund in addition? So, in other words, we're having a deep cleaning now. One assumes that there's going to be a need for deep cleaning a year from now because we're going to have other stuff being done as we,
I
putter
believe
around and do things.
when we have done that before, done a deep cleaning before. I'm not 100% positive on which line it came from, if it was custodial or maintenance.
Okay.
But it would be a similar thing where like the quote would come to the board, and really the board gets to decide what line it comes from.
Okay. The other thing would be, there was discussion when we cleaned the vents, that we might need to clean the vents again.
Yep.
So, perhaps we need to figure some cost of, random amount of vent cleaning each year or something, if there's some way to, like maybe one for each of the HVAC systems or something, so that we can be budgeting in some money for that and be doing it on an incremental basis and rotate it versus waiting till we're getting black things on tiles.
I agree. It needs to be more part of the preventative maintenance schedule. I think the idea for 28 with the maintenance, like the ask of the 10%, it's still not quite, I think, what we need. But it gets us closer, and it's still an increase over the many years we've had of no increase. But certainly if the board would rather see a larger increase there, we can ask for it.
Well, we have to take care of it. We have to.
My concern is just that one of the issues that we've had with some of the issues with the building was that we haven't had real maintenance.
Right.
Real maintenance has been taken out of a lot of the, like the vent cleaning and things like that. So we maybe need to be putting more of our budget toward doing some of that because we need to do that.
Buildings cost money.
They do. It does cost money.
Buildings cost money.
And if you move the printer to the other line, I think that makes a whole lot of sense. It seems silly to have them in two separate lines. So the increase is not that big of an increase. It's really shifting the printer to the correct line.
Yes, however, where we're still asking for an increase in maintenance, it's not like you're deducting it from maintenance and adding it to printing. It's really you're just straight adding it to printing.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see what else we should note. Furniture was another one that we asked for a bigger increase. You'll see there's, well, I know that furniture has been a point of contention previously. However, we do still have that $2,500 that's been allocated the last 2 years, which is great. However, you can see even in 26, we overspent that with very little furniture to show for it, sadly, because that money really doesn't go very far when it comes to furniture. So I'd really like
$2,500 will barely buy you a table.
I don't think it would buy us a table, but I
Yeah.
could be wrong about that.
Yeah.
At least
table.
maybe a small one.
It depends on the type of table you're asking.
Yeah.
The tables that we have, no.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But with the monitors, we're putting monitors in the meeting rooms, or televisions, whatever you want to call them. If we were putting those in, wouldn't that be also under furniture?
No, that comes out of machinery and equipment.
Okay.
So you'll see there is an increase there as well, because I'm accounting for planning on those TVs. Whereas, I mean, you can even see over the past few years that even the years we had no budget there, we were spending in it. So
Yeah. The reality is,
it's needed.
we need to have the machinery to be able to do all the other stuff.
Yes. For the past couple years, we've mainly been using it to focus on getting new scanners and printer receipts for when we joined GMELCs, because we did have to upgrade those. And those were not cheap, so that's where you're seeing the expenses for those. But knowing that we're hoping to get TVs on top of whatever equipment we already probably will have to get, that's why we doubled that amount. And furniture is just to help us stretch that money a little further to get us. We know, I mean, I made this case already that the furniture that needs replacing is at this point 30 years old. And it'd be best if we can gradually swap it out with new. But honestly, I really think this money will just barely cover replacing the stuff that will probably break that year. That's kind of the reality. So I guess the positive thing out of this whole situation is that we did get some new furniture with the insurance claim.
Right.
So happy for that. Any other questions I can answer? This is obviously just discussion. So
Right, right.
if you're looking at it and have something you do have a question about or want more information about before the 22nd, I'm happy to get that
I'd like
for
to
you.
see us increase the machinery and equipment budget.
Okay.
I think that, I hate to see increases, but the reality is, I don't think we have enough in that line, for, the needs a year and a half from now. So,
What would you recommend for an amount?
maybe $5,000.
I can plug that in if that is the consensus of the board.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay.
Can always take it out if we need to. But I don't disagree. I agree, is what I'm saying.
And then perhaps we have not increased enough in the maintenance area, because I think the reality is, we're now working on getting the stuff taken care of. We need to keep it in good shape, and we may need to paint something more or to change something out quicker or something, and if we don't have a maintenance budget to do that, that's going to be a problem.
Okay.
So perhaps increasing that by a couple $1,000s more, so that we can do something about the increased needs of keeping the building at good. Maybe we'll need to clean the rugs a second time, or, something we may find as a result of having new stuff again. What other things do we have to do?
Okay. Do you think 29.5 or you want to make it an even 30?
Let's make it even 30.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, everything's subject to change and whatever, but I think the reality is that was an area we weren't putting enough money into. We shifted our
Well,
things, I mean, we had.
pretty
you know,
clear. Yeah,
'cause
absolutely.
we shifted
Yeah,
everything, and so
I
that was the
know,
bare
I know.
minimum was
I
all we
know.
got done, and so that's
Well,
what we have to fix.
I think we would probably all agree we've been a little penny wise and pound foolish.
Correct,
This building is 20-something years old and hasn't really been taken care of.
right.
So shame on us, but, good for us that we're moving forward with being better stewards of caring for this building. So I would agree with that, and we may even want to talk about more in that line item.
Okay.
And I strongly think that we need to start looking at a maintenance trust fund. So,
As a warrant article. that we have
yes,
to-
yes,
Because you have to propose it one year and fund it for $1, and
Right.
then that you don't have it, put any in until the following year or something.
right.
It's just
I know.
it's one of the weird things about setting up something new.
Is that something you want staff to look at, or is the
The
board?
maintenance trust fund?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
maybe something around similar to what, that's a program thing. Similar to, the other thing is perhaps having a program trust fund or whatever, similar to what the Recreation Department has done with their programs. Although we don't really charge money for the programs, so I guess we couldn't do it that way.
Yeah, let's start with maintenance. Yeah. And I actually think that, you know, a really good model of that is the school board. You know, they've done a great job with their maintenance trust funds. So if need be, you know, maybe we could consult with Mr. Slater. I'm sure I'm speaking for him, but I'm sure he'd be glad to come in and give us some guidance on that, since have we ever had one, ever? So, yeah.
Not to my
So,
knowledge.
Anyway, right, mine either, so.
Okay. Any other adjustments any of the trustees
Anything
would like to
else?
see for the next draft?
Nope.
Right now, at least.
I think this is a good place to start.
Okay.
Thank you for that. Very detailed and good report, Donna and Megan. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right,
That one
moving
was all
on.
done.
Tuition reimbursement.
Is that the-
That is the
Do we have-
form,
no,
yeah.
okay,
So,
yeah, no,
I am bringing forward a draft request form.
Yeah.
We have not, I mean, I think some of the questions that came up regarding tuition reimbursement were related to us not really having a paper trail or a very clear request process necessarily. I think each director that I've seen oversee it has done it a little bit differently, which the personnel policy does leave room for. So technically, as of right now, I mean, this isn't really a requirement, but I do think it would help streamline things and answer some questions. And it makes it clearer for staff too, to know exactly what information they need to give the director.
Yep.
And I did actually base this draft off of an existing municipal draft, I think in a town in Massachusetts. Just the first one I found a good example of online. So I am not presenting it to a vote tonight, but just more so for you to be able to review it, think about it if you want to see any changes before we bring it back for a vote. However, I do at the same time, since I'm in like an acting director role at the moment, I am looking for some more guidance from the board in terms of, do you have a specific expectation while I'm in the acting role in terms of handling tuition reimbursement? We do have 2 staff members who are going to be requesting it this year. I actually have already requested it.
great.
I have all the information. It's just a matter of if you want us to use this form, they'll just need to add it to the form.
I'm okay with this. Yeah, go ahead.
So my concern is, and it's a more of a policy on this side, is right now it's up front before the classes start that it's all done, and school districts and other places I've worked that have had a reimbursement, it was in fact a reimbursement after the course is completed and after the grades come in. There's no money exchanges until that happens. So the person who's pursuing the degree, they have to, or the person who wants to take a course, they have to pay for that course out of their money until such time that they submit it and get their grades and whatever. And I would like to see us go to that kind of a model, and also some way to encourage, if we have more than one person, which I assume we will, if you have 17 employees or whatever, you may have people taking courses to further their master's degrees. But some way of saying, well, you know, if we can't go over the amount of money that's been proposed, so how are you going to make it fair to, is it the first person who gets their paperwork in, or is it, you know, as far as how that's done?
So thus far, under the personnel policy, the board has left it up to the director to decide that. And I mean, Megan and I can speak to the fact that we've seen 2 different directors do it differently. One that, so to be clear too, that the staff member does pay out of pocket initially in no matter what.
Okay, they do.
It's just a matter of when the reimbursement happens. So we've seen a director reimburse right away after payment and before the class is over. And then we've also had a director who reimbursed after the class is over and they've turned their grade in to them for proof that they've passed. So that's not true?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm mistaken.
So, when I was getting my degree, it was paid based on the invoice from the school, like
Oh, it paid directly to the school.
paid directly to the school.
Okay.
And it was done differently when another staff member was doing it. So it's been done different ways depending on
Okay.
the director.
So I had the exact procedure wrong, but it has been
Yes.
done differently based on the
There's
director.
different ways, yes.
Yes. So certainly if the board would rather have a clearer procedure in the personnel policy, you could
So
do
I
that.
think Erica has some comments.
Which I think would be, if we wanted clarification, I don't think that's a bad thing, but I think we need to be careful because part of the reason that we haven't been meeting about the personnel policy on the subcommittee is because we are in status quo. And until the union contract has been finalized and approved, we cannot make changes to the personnel policy because that would put us in violation of the rules for status quo negotiations. So I think this is valuable food for thought, but we will not be able to act on it until March 2027 at the earliest.
Correct.
Well, we're talking about the budget year 2028, right?
No, but the policy that would govern how we do tuition reimbursement would be under the personnel policy and or the union contract. We can't make any changes to that until,
Does our policy say when it gets paid?
no, that's
Now?
what Donna's explaining, is that that's been left up to the director,
Okay,
since there's
so-
nothing formal in the personnel
So we're
policy.
not changing that part.
No.
No, but it also means we can't,
Right.
we can't then put something into the personnel policy saying that we want it to be done a specific way, because that is governed by status quo.
Okay.
However, because I'm in an acting director role, I am asking for the board's guidance in the procedure unless you're still wanting to say to me, handle it how you see fit, I am open to having guidance of the preference of the board for the procedure, if that makes sense. So my intention with this form is to make it a lot more clear, period, to everyone, what information we need, when we actually received it, that it's approved, it goes in personnel file. I'm fine with still handling the pre-approval process, assuming that the budget money's there, right? I can't do anything if the budget money's not there. And if and I'm sure we actually will probably run into this year. If it's an ask of overexpending, that would be coming back to the board. So I can tell you, I would spend within the budget that we have. But if you would prefer, for instance, a scenario where the pre-approvals that I've done aren't actually reimbursed until I have a grade, I can do that. I can continue
So-
the way we've been kind of doing it recently.
I think that's a procedural thing that does require a
Yes.
vote, and so I don't think I don't think we want to vote on, well, we're not going to vote on that tonight because it's not under deliberations and voting. But if you would like to come back or bring that back at our next meeting and put that under deliberations, and we'll talk to it again and speak to it very specifically and vote on.
But we do have the tuition reimbursement is on the budget, on the,
Correct, but she's asking for specifics in terms of how if you're in terms of guiding you on how to proceed moving forward, correct?
Yes.
Okay, which would require a vote.
Right, but if you're saying that you want me to come back with a written procedure, I need some kind of guidance discussion-wise on what to prepare for that, for the
Yeah, so-
22nd.
so I'm thinking it's more of we're voting on how we are interested in seeing her think about her procedure or something. We're not voting on, this is gonna be the way it's
No,
gonna
no,
be.
I got
We're
that.
voting on, how
Just
do-
in this case,
Do you have something in mind, Donna?
I would probably go the route, if it was just left up to me to decide, I would probably go the route of the reimbursement will happen after the grade. I think it's a cleaner way of doing it because if you have someone who doesn't have a passing grade, then you have to get them to pay back, and I think
Right.
that adds a lot of hassle
Paperwork.
and paperwork. So that's just the way I would prefer, to make it cleaner and easier for everybody.
Then if that's your preference at this juncture in time, I'm okay with that. And so do you want to bring that back for a vote?
I think we need to.
Um,
I'm not sure we really
I
need
don't
to.
think we
if-
need
if-
to, it's
Okay.
on here.
We consent,
if it's a consensus, I'm
Oh,
okay
yeah,
with
I mean,
proceeding
we could do
way.
that by way of consent.
I
I mean,
more
it's not
so-
under deliberations for a vote.
I more so will wait until next meeting if you want to actually adopt the form before we move forward with me pre-approving
What's the pleasure of the board?
requests.
I'm happy to consent to this, provide consensus for this process, and then,
Yeah.
we can look at we can do something more formal alongside the form if we feel like we need to.
Consensus? Yes, consensus?
So you're saying, just to be clear, that you want to have consensus on the process or the suggested process?
That's correct.
And you want to vote on the form the next meeting?
Correct.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, and what does that mean for the requests I currently have? Do you want me to move them forward? And if we do use the form, I'll have them fill it out after the fact?
Fine.
Yeah,
Okay, great.
Thank you.
thank you.
Hello, Azra. Okay, very good. Library director posting. I'm gonna close this tab now.
I'm so proud of you, that's personal growth.
Would you like me to present?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so, Madam Chair, you asked me to put together a draft, post
Yep.
for, a potential director posting. So what I did is I actually took a lot of the language from the post, the last time the board posted the director position.
Yep.
But I added some more detailed information, such as made it more explicit about it being an exempt position, 40 hours a week. I also copied some of the qualification information directly from the job description that the board last updated. I believe it was in October. So most of that is directly from the job description most of you have seen already. It is attached here as well. And the language that I in particular added was because of discussions that were happening about qualifications that I think the board really wanted at one point. So I did add the line particularly that says previous experience with employee unions, strategic planning, and capital projects is highly desirable, because that, I mean, we're in the middle of that. So it would be great to have someone who has that experience. And one of the big questions I had for you, and actually a suggestion from me, is that right now I have it on there that applications will go directly to the full board's email. I would recommend that the board actually ask the HR department to manage this for you, which would mean that those applications would go to the HR department email. And they have some specific instructions of things that, like, they want the subject to say this. Usually when you look at town postings, I would recommend that so that you have someone else making sure everyone's gotten all of the applications and can really organize them well for you. That would be my big suggestion. But really, if any of this you want to change, it can be changed. I also wanted to note that after last meeting, when you said you were in agreement on setting a hiring range for the salary, so I set it at 105,000. The actual
Goes up to 112.
for 27 is up to 115. So it does leave still a lot more room for them to grow, but it does allow for us, when we're looking at where those service impacts are happening with the budget cut, that was one of the things I factored into that 51,000. So just so you're aware of that.
Great, thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes. Right ahead.
I would like us to still look at having some organization, even if it's ALA or whatever, some other organization to be the first point of contact. Because I think that it makes all the things happen the same way. It provides a level playing field. So the people who are in-house that would like to apply go through that person, people who go through that organization. And they do the preliminary things about discussing, checking, they check references and things like that. So they do all that preliminary stuff before those things come down to the next level. So I would like to see us do something like that, and I think it has more potential for having more visibility by having another organization than just us.
Ezra?
So the ALA would not do something like that. We would have to hire a company to do that.
The ALA does have a charged fee.
We do not have, in my opinion, we don't have that kind of money. That's a lot of money. And for a library in New Hampshire, I think that there's certain procedures that we can take that would not cost money like that. My recommendation would be to have a personnel hiring committee. I think it makes sense that what respect HR wants to be involved, whether it's the final interviews, but I think having those applications sent to the chair, and then the chair can distribute as they see fit.
The problem is the chair doesn't have if it's anything comes in via mail, the chair doesn't have a separate mailing address here.
So I can add to that. I purposefully took out the option to mail. I mean, you can certainly put it back in, but right now, the way it's worded is just email.
Digital makes more sense.
Yes.
I think most people apply for positions digitally now.
I think Donna made the recommendation that we direct it to HR for the sake of having that, the accountability, so everything's time-stamped, like everything's like channeled through one,
If HR will do it.
I think
Yeah.
we can ask
If
them.
HR will do that.
They provide our HR services, so I can't imagine that
Why
they
wouldn't
wouldn't.
they?
Because they may say that they've got too many things going on otherwise. I mean, our MOA says something about limited HR services, or, we don't get the full thing. And I seem to remember when we asked about it before, that it was, no, you have to do your own.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is somebody, perhaps myself, should follow up with HR and see exactly what the support will be like and report back to you all.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay, no problem. Okay,
Is,
I'll put that
anybody,
on my
does
list.
anybody else think, can we have a discussion about whether we're doing, that we just do it ourselves versus getting another organization involved?
I agree with Azra. I think, given our current financial situation and all of the things we need to spend money on, and the huge cuts we're going to have to be making to accommodate the fiscal year 27 budget, it feels almost bread and circuses to hire an outside agency to do something that we have the capacity to do ourselves.
Do you have any idea how much it costs, Jan?
It depends on the agency. I don't know what the ALA costs. The folks that I talked to 6 or 8 months ago, they were talking one organization. It was 10% of the salary. One of them, it was like a month of the first salary, which is kind of standard for hiring things. And then there were other ones that was negotiable. It was that, you pay this much if they do this, and you pay that much if they do that. So there's very specific things. So you could just have the preliminary stuff being there. With what they did with the town and the fire chief, hiring the new chief, that was all done off-site, to hire the chief. And the reason for doing that was to level the playing field for, people both in-house and, out of, Londonderry, to be able to be hired, or to be able to be looked at. They were looked at under the same procedure, and then there was some kind of a basic skills test that was done. Again, it was done out there, so everybody had the same basic skills and to go to the next level. So I think that doing something like that, I think that our ability to get the best person that's available at the time would be helped by having another organization that specializes in doing hiring. We don't usually hire people that often. So some organization that specializes in hiring and hiring library director people be involved with hiring in the hiring process.
Thank you. Beth?
Respectfully, we have yet to fill the part-time children's position that we were tasked to hire 2 years ago, because of budget issues. And we have $51,000 that we have yet to cut from our next, year of spending. We have no budget. And, Wyndham just hired a fabulous director. They did not have to, contract out another agency. We are not Boston. We are not Minneapolis. We have to work with the budget we have, and we do not have the funds. We can't even hire the people that we've already been tasked to hire. We've been paid by the town to hire them. Like, we need to do those things first. That's the
Well, but
priority.
we could use it for both positions.
So if we're thinking 10% of the person's salary, that's $10,000. I don't
exactly.
think that looks good in front of the public.
I don't either.
We're right now, especially right now, budget season. For us to say we're taking this money to hire a consultant, which is what it would be, that $10,000 could have been used towards Hoopla. That $10,000 could have been used towards programming or collection. It doesn't look good in front of the voters.
So, I mean,
Can I?
30
Sorry.
no, go right
Um,
ahead.
As just as a librarian, and I worked in Quincy, and the way they hired it, even though it's like a Quincy and they can spend a lot of money, the way they hired it's basic like trustees, introing the library director, and after that the town manager, the city, whatever town manager, is like meeting the library director. So this is like the basic procedure. Personally, if I would be a library director, I would like to meet my trustees, because that's like the main contact, like meeting with them, talking to them about like libraries and the buildings and
Well,
everything.
and we would still do that in the interview process. So if this would be the preliminary stuff of, gathering the information, making sure that everybody's application is done, whatever the preliminary stuff, and then forwarding us people that meet the requirements and that have whatever. I think that by taking it off our plate for everything, it says we're trying to be open-ended and we're trying to be open and above board in the process. It's not going to come in and we don't know how many applications have come in or whatever, that we never see that kind of information. And the thing about the skills testing, before Erica was hired, there was some kind of a skills testing that was done on a previous hiring of, I don't know, whether a director or assistant director or something.
Who was hired? Erica, who?
I mean, not Erica, I mean Erin. Before Erin was hired, there was some skills testing. And I think that based on the requirements that we're asking for, especially about the use of communications, but the use of, you know, different software programs, the ability to do presentations, et cetera. All of that could be done with some kind of an evaluation, and we don't have that evaluation presently, so we couldn't just say, everybody take this test. I think that again levels the playing field. What they found with the fire department was our 2 internal candidates couldn't pass the test. And so that's why they didn't go forward, so.
So I have this to say. So, first of all, we fought for 2 years, and we could not agree to spend $32,000 to hire a children's librarian. That's kind of a problem, that the voters approved. 2 years. So I'm kind of thinking that if we move forward with spending $10,000 to hire someone, the public is going to come and hang us. That's item number 1. Item number 2, the town is being so generous to us. I think that if we called them up and said, we're going to spend $10,000 to hire a new director, I think our town council would have a meltdown. So I'm having a little heartburn with this, Jan.
I think it's time to make a motion.
So I think it warrants further discussion because you don't know if HR will do.
I'm
what
happy
they're
to call
asking,
them.
And we don't know how much it truly costs or what the scope is. So why don't we table this and bring it up at the next meeting and have that discussion at that point?
And I'll try and get some actual quotes.
Figures
for
would be
the,
good.
for the different levels of.
And if need be, I'm sure I can speak with HR and they can come and talk with us and tell us exactly what they would be willing to do for us. Because I don't believe that they're not going to be thorough in this endeavor.
And I'd like to reestablish that the plan is to vote at the next meeting.
Yes, it will be.
To launch this posting.
Correct.
We don't need to drag this out.
No.
No, we need to get it,
We need to get it
posted yesterday.
Okay. Very good. Yep, deliberations and vote. So, transferring funds to new budget lines.
Yes. So I did, after our last meeting, I did follow up with Justin and Town Manager Mulholland regarding the process for this. The Town Manager did confirm that the board can put to a vote to transfer between lines within the library budget. And so you're able to do that this evening. If you would like to move forward, I did update the memo so that you have more up-to-date numbers to work from when voting. I did ask finance regarding like what language needs to be in the motion. And we also agreed that it would be easiest if you just went like a motion for every transfer. If you want to move forward. And the information in the motion needs to have the exact amount that you're transferring, the account it's coming from and moving to, but not just the account name. It does need to have those last 4 digits of the account number included. And I also would recommend including in the motion that it is the fiscal year 27.
All righty. We got a bunch of motions coming forward. Who wants to take this one on?
Bring it on. All right. I make a motion that we transfer sorry, just to clarify, Donna. So for item number 1, it would be transferring 17,000, et cetera. Does that motion need to, each of these items under that first number 1 needs to be a separate motion?
So the bold text is just the total. I wouldn't do a motion for that. Just the bullet pointed
All right.
items.
Then I would make a motion that we transfer $7,052 from the management services number 4330 line to the line adult programs 4821.
That is a motion by Erica. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jan. Is there any discussion?
Can I just be, Erica, would you mind just adding that it's for fiscal year 27?
For fiscal year 27.
Thank you.
Yes.
Motion by Erica, second by Jan. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Was that 7-0? Yeah, we're all here. Good.
Yes.
Very good. The next one?
Next one, I make a motion to transfer $2,684 from management services line 4330 to teen programs line 4825 for fiscal year 27.
That's a motion by Erica. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Azra. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed? That would be a 7-0 vote. Moving on.
I make a motion to transfer $8,063.30 from Management Services line 4330 to Youth Programs line 4822 for fiscal year 27.
That is a motion by Erica. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Miriam. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That's a 7-0 vote.
Excellent.
Next one.
Hang on, I gotta copy all this.
Sorry.
It's okay. There we go. I make a motion to transfer $48,234 from dues and subscription services line 4560-0000 to Library Consortiums line 4560-0001 for fiscal year 27.
That's a motion by Erica. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Beth. Is there any discussion? Yes, ma'am.
Just a quick discussion. I know we haven't had it underneath there because I think we've kept it in with the books, but the cost of the book service through the state, that's currently
Oh, over like Libby.
Libby. So we currently have already paid that for this current year. We paid that early because we had a discussion about the payment that went in.
Yeah, but not for fiscal year 27. It that usually is sometime in the fall that we get that number.
Well,
Or are you referring to Cloud Library, the consortium one or the state
no,
one?
it wasn't the consortium. It was the state one.
State one.
And we paid it 9 months early.
Yes. We typically do, yes.
So if we paid it 9 months early, then we've paid it for this year.
It was for fiscal year 26. So it would have been due by the end of fiscal year 26. We paid it closer to the beginning of fiscal year 26.
Okay. Well, at any rate, whatever that is, that was a consortium subscription service, something. And so the question is, should we have that in along with this and just not have this just be G-Milks instead of
So I do think it's clearer to the public, since that is a digital collection service, that it be included with the digital books and databases.
okay.
However, you are correct that we call it a consortium just the way that it's paid. So we pay dues to support that service, as do
Yeah, it's
100
also
plus
the way,
other
the way they
libraries.
discuss it too in their blurb that.
Yep, they refer to it as the New Hampshire Downloadable Books Consortium. So yes, consortium is in the name because it is a group of libraries that is splitting the cost essentially, and they do have, I think, 1 or 2 policies technically under them. It's not as like they don't. It's not the same level of service that G-Milks is offering us, where it's multifaceted. It's more than just the one thing we're getting out of it. And from my perspective, I feel like the goal in transferring for these line items is to make it clearer to the public, and I think that would only confuse the public more, personally, because so many of our users, they don't know New Hampshire Downloadable Books Consortium, they know Libby, and Libby is a downloadable book service.
Any other discussion?
Is Libby in the electronic portion?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. So that was a motion by Erica and a second by
Me.
Okay. So any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That's a 7-0 vote.
I would, is it right?
Yep.
I would like to make a motion to transfer $37,500 from Books and Periodicals Supplies, line 4670-0000 to,
I'm gonna stop you. There are only 3 zeros there.
oh,
4, 6, you did the
oh, you're
second.
right. Oh, sorry.
No.
We restate. To transfer $37,500 from Books and Periodical Supplies, line 4670-000 to electronic books and databases, line 4670-001, for fiscal year 27.
Thank you very much. That was a motion by Erica. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Beth. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That's a 7-0 vote.
Thank you
Okay,
very much.
very good.
Thanks for reading all those zeros there,
Geez,
Erica.
thanks for, yeah, I know.
I'm sorry I made you wait for an extra zero.
That's, oh, don't be flip. Okay, let's move on to service impacts of the $51,000 budget cut.
Yep.
Can't wait to hear that.
So I, at your ask, revised my first memo to allow for us to still hire the part-time children's librarian,
Yep.
which is an area where I think the majority of the $51,000 was planned to come from by not hiring this year.
Karen's plan.
I'm having trouble bringing it up on my computer. So what I did in the memo is I also wanted to bring this to your attention that, and this doesn't have to be a decision tonight either, but my plan is to, when we bring forth the posting for the part-time children's librarian, is to ask you for that position to be 28 hours per week. That is more consistent with our part-time positions. When we originally tried to hire, it was for 22 and a half hours per week. And we are no longer, because we've passed the year where the warrant article was approved, we are no longer bound by a specific budget number or cap when hiring that. So
We're not?
my understanding is that we are not. Certainly, if you wanted to get a legal opinion on that, you could. But when we get to that, I will be asking for 28 hours. So I did bold that, and I kept that in mind while looking at the budget, so that there was actually funding for it. I did a quick reminder of where the funds actually came from when you're looking at the budget on paper. They were a combination of the full-time salaries, FICA benefits, Medicare benefits, retirement benefits, and the majority of it was cut from the books and periodicals line. The recommendations that I've made, they reflect kind of this list of changes. So first, which I brought up last meeting, is setting a salary cap for hiring the director. So the range for hiring that I'm recommending is $95,035.20, which is the minimum salary range right now on FY27 that the board has approved, and for the maximum to be limited to $105,000.
Excuse me.
Yep.
And that keeps us competitive.
I believe it does. I mean,
Okay.
I don't have any like market studies to
I
justify that.
understand. I understand.
But from seeing a lot of postings recently in our area,
Yep.
I do believe that keeps us
Okay.
competitive. Especially knowing that there's still room for them to grow there after they're hired. It's not like they're going to be stuck at that.
Yeah.
There is no budget allocated for admin time. That was just something that was taken out of the full-time or regular salaries. Typically 120 hours are usually budgeted, 60 for the director, 60 for the assistant director. By personnel policy, you would still have to pay that out if there were those hours to pay out at the end of the fiscal year, but there's no budget for it, so that you're aware. I removed the budget from the all ages or other programs line, so that's why on the other memo you didn't transfer any money into that line. And the things that will impact are events like Library After Dark, which we do get a lot of requests for, but it's one of those things that I felt like if something has to go, it's got to go. And there won't be any set budget for the first year of winter reading, which I've talked to Becca about. we would basically be relying on asking for donations like we do for summer, but there won't be the additional supplemental funding like there is for summer. So has a heads up about that. We would end our agreement with Hoopla as of February 27. I did attach some spending information so you could actually see what the spending looks like. It did significantly change after we added a budget cap to our service, which you can see in those numbers. This one is going to be hard for patrons. It's a well-loved service. But at the same time, I will say this is not going to be a unique thing for the library because I don't know if you've seen recently in the news, but Concord also recently had to give up their Hoopla service for the same exact reason. Actually, I think they had a smaller budget cut. And same thing there. Their patrons love Hoopla, and they've actually had a year where they tried to cut that service, and there was such an uproar that they brought it back. So I'm expecting a lot of outreach to us from our patrons.
And we may find the same thing.
And we may.
You know, we're here to serve the needs of the community. This is hard, this is difficult, of course. But, you know, if we get a lot of backlash on this or blowback, I think we're gonna have to talk about it.
Madam Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
Just a discussion from, along those lines. There were some problems, a patron who I happen to know was having and didn't understand that, maybe it was when we cut the amount, they couldn't get something. And then she came in and had a one-on-one discussion with one of the librarians about the cloud library, and discovered that there was more things available in the cloud library that she knew, and was very excited to go home because she knew that she now had all these other resources that she didn't realize she had. So part of it may be us making sure that we encourage people to come in and find, you know, and or we add additional information about the other services and stuff, where they can get those other services that the Hoopla cut may impact.
Can I just ask, what would be the salary range for the part-time, even if moved to the 28 hours?
The children's librarian?
Yeah.
So under 27 salary numbers. Do you want the number just if we were to hire at the minimum pay?
Yeah.
For example?
Well, you said you're gonna ask for 28. I say let's hear the 28.
Yeah.
No, but you're talking about the
Right, but the
minimum-
hourly rate would be the minimum hourly
start
rate?
at the minimum, yeah.
Okay.
I think.
So annual salary is $40,331.20.
And then you
Should
have,
be able to do the
and then
math.
you
How
have
much
all
is
the,
hourly?
all the benefits in addition.
So it's part-time, so you don't have the health insurance
No, but you have
benefits.
vacation, you have vacation and sick time and holiday pay. So those things, there is a line that is an amount that has to be put aside for that. So if you go up to 28 hours, you're gonna be doing it based on the 28 hours, that's all.
Right, that is based on the 28 hours, but there isn't an additional cost for paid time off because it's already factored in. Because this is assuming you work every day you possibly could. So if they take some time off, it's just
Time off
the time
without
off pay is included in that number.
But sick time,
Sick time also.
Yeah, you just don't show up, but you still get the same.
So it's not like
pay.
there's a different budget line to
Budgeted.
cover sick time.
So if it's $40,000 at the minimum, I don't know if my math is correct, that would be $27.
$27.70.
Okay, so based on my knowledge, even at the minimum, that would be competitive.
Thank you, Ezra.
They would, the part I didn't factor into that is if they, and I hope that they will, have a master's degree, they would get the educational incentive. So it's another $500. So $40,831.20.
Just for a community standpoint, I would like, you know, whatever it is that we vote on for the cuts, I'd like to like make some really well done graphic organizers, not graphic but infographics to communicate to the public where the cut came from, and they will feel it, and I think that is important. That's going to get the community to decide, you know, when we're doing budget discussions, like, do we really want to keep pushing for cuts? Because you will feel the cuts when it impacts something that we all love and you know, desire. So we have to make the cuts, and there's only so many places you can cut it from. And it is important for the community to understand that, so that they can give pushback and say, this is actually something we want to invest in the next year.
There's more to this list, but yeah, just to go regarding Hoopla specifically, I just want to note that I do appreciate that. I guess the timing of it allows us some significant time to get the word out that the service is going away, and that they still have a chance up until February to make use of it.
Right.
So I think that's in our favor, whereas like with what Concord just did, it was like end of the month you're cut off.
Right. It's gone.
Yeah.
So I do think that's a good service. That's a good, as much as it stinks to
Yep.
you know, cut it, it's a good way customer service wise to give them warning it's happening. So I just want to note that. Continuing on the list, we plan to not renew our database subscriptions to A to Z databases and Value Line. Value Line's actually on the agenda tonight as a contract that's up for renewal, and assuming you want to move forward with this, that would have to be declined, voted down.
Okay.
To renew. I do want to note that the real challenge here is that really what we're cutting the most of is our reference resources. We're really turning to spending them, and I mean it's clear even in the usage that is what the way the patrons are going, but we really are limiting ourselves in terms of the resources we have to answer people's like factual questions, which is hard because that is what we're supposed to be here for. So it's really tough for me, being reference librarian at heart, to even offer this as a suggestion. But when you look at usage, it's just not there when we have to cut something. So that's kind of where we're at. I will hope that future we may be able to bring something back, because the reference staff is going to be relying a lot on just free resources. It's going to take more time in terms of figuring out, is this resource legitimate? I want to make sure I'm providing accurate information before I'm just handing it over. Whereas when we have a database like this, it's already vetted information that we know we can hand over without question. So that's going to be tough. But I do feel like that's where the money has to come from.
So do we have numbers of use?
I do. I don't have them in front of me. I can provide them if you are interested.
And there was some database that we added in for this year.
We did not actually add it. So we budgeted to add Comics Plus, and that is part of the cut because we haven't even added it because we didn't have the money to add it. So it's not in this list, but in the spreadsheet below, I think I listed that as being cut. So we didn't even get to add it. We're just not adding it. That was part of the budget season request. What's next? We also, so Megan did a lot of work on periodicals, newspapers and magazines in print to find 28 titles that we will not renew. And we provided the full title list of those. There are 2 on there that actually Megan made a good note for, that she realized that we were like a year ahead in paying for them based on our subscription dates. So we can skip this year, and for 28 they will be, we will have them again. But the rest of them are gonna go. I also want to note that some of the more expensive ones are also reference related. The guides that we get to help patrons value their cars when trying to sell them. Those are what those car guides are, and we will be cutting those.
This is rough because some of these magazines, I believe, you can get through Libby Overdrive, but there's nothing like having a physical magazine
Yeah.
in your hands, especially if you're doing recipes or birds in bloom and gardening. USA Today, that's a big deal. You know, patrons
Good
not necessarily
housekeeping.
checking out the newspapers, but if you've ever been in the library, you'll see the guys or ladies who'll sit there for over an hour browsing it, and they're not going to be happy.
Yeah, this is rough. There's no question about it.
Can you
I
go back up to the
appreciate
list?
your time and attention to this, but
Madam Chair?
can I finish my sentence? Our community will guide us. I know they will. And if there's a lot of backlash on this, I think, again, we're going to have to revisit it. Yes, ma'am.
So, when you're seeing the list of numbers from that second list,
Yeah.
I mean, that would be an area we could say, well, if people wanted to keep the gardening and you're a person that uses that gardening magazine or whatever, you know, here's how much it costs to save that. So somebody might be able to donate that much money to save that. You know, it costs $200 and whatever for USA Today. If somebody wanted to save that, they could donate that. So, you know, it's a hard cut, and I agree that those are hard cuts, but it also is an advantage that perhaps this will be an ask that people haven't been asked for up till now is, well, you know, take an active role in providing some of these things.
That's definitely a possibility. I will say that these prices are specific to our contracted service. So if, and that contract's actually also on the agenda tonight. So if that moves forward with these titles removed and someone wants to donate, we'd probably be looking at a different cost if we were to subscribe directly.
Okay.
So I just, for the public, I want them to know that that cost isn't necessarily what we would have to pay in a direct subscription.
And the contract with the vendor that we use for the contract, they wouldn't allow you to add it in if somebody donated the money.
I think they might. It's just that it would, like, the subscription period is going to be significantly off compared to some of our other, like, if I remember right.
Yeah, so, I mean, it would go into, if somebody did it, it would be just like a different, like, an individual invoice. So then it would be put into the renewal for the following year.
Okay.
So the renewal would be off,
Yeah,
Little
but
bit.
potentially.
periodicals are their own
Yes.
special beast.
They are.
So they all have different renewal dates, which is why you actually see, like, if you get missed issues, they often credit you. If a magazine goes out of print because they're going digital only, if you still have issues left that you've on your contract, they'll maybe put it onto another magazine, which is why we're actually a year ahead on those two, because that's what happened
Right.
over time. So it is a little bit more complicated, but it
Yeah.
can happen.
Either way, the message to the public, yes, we would appreciate a donation if you'd really like to see one of those magazines saved. This is a good price to base your donation off of.
And it would be better to donate the money to the library rather than sending us the magazine.
Correct.
Yes, that'd be easier for us.
Well, it also means you can get it at the the lower price, potentially.
Well, it would be a cost savings, but
yes,
we don't
yes.
always know what we get for those magazines, and that sometimes
They would have to
happens, and it's
donate the
just
funds
difficult.
so that you could order the magazine.
Right,
Right.
it's, if there's an issue with the magazine, if it's a donated magazine, we have a harder time rectifying those, so.
So Erica has some comments.
I think it's also important to remember that while I think it's always valuable to accept community donations and support, individual sponsorships of subscriptions and things like that, at the end of the day, it is our job as the board to advocate for and defend a budget that is actually functional for what our community wants from the library. And there is something particularly devastating and gutting about having to make such intensive cuts to the budget that are going to hurt a lot of people's resources and access to the things they want from the library, from a public resource that we all know and love and have brutally missed having the full functionality of since January. And I think this should also serve as a reminder that it is our job. We were elected to defend this library and to advocate for its budget and to advocate for the town to fund it fully. And as wonderful as it would be to have private citizens stepping up to help fill in some of the gaps, we have to step it up this budget season to make sure that this does not happen again, because we cannot continue to sustain this.
And
is
this
an
was
outrage that we
based
are
on
here.
the request from the town manager.
I
This
know,
51,000.
I have been following this too, Jan. I am just outraged that we are at this point and we
I
did not
agree.
do more to prevent it when we had the opportunity last year.
And this could have been avoided if not for the past board's actions, which the public remembers and we remember.
I don't
Okay.
know that this $51,000
Jan,
would have made a
Okay,
difference.
all right. We're not going to relitigate the sins of the past. This is hard. Our community is going to be hurt. There's no question about that. This is going to be difficult for everybody. But again, I trust our community, and if there is backlash, we are going to revisit all of these items. So in the interest of time, is there any other new discussion or anything else that you want to add to this?
There were just a couple more items I
Okay.
did not cover yet.
Yep, then let's keep going.
Next being that we will not renew the Boston Children's Museum pass.
That's just terrible.
It's very expensive, and when Megan actually did the usage or what the cost per use is, it was around $9 a usage, which is very high. So based on that, that was the one that we chose to cut. I don't know. There's possibility that the Friends could end up wanting to support it. I don't know yet. But that is part of the list. There's also a removal of some funds from office supplies, so we will be restricting spending more in that line. We were, because of the budget freeze situation with FY26, we were able to successfully keep spending there pretty low compared to how much we had for the budget. So I do feel like while we had to not order some things we normally would, I think we can manage with that small amount removed. And lastly, and probably most importantly, part of my list is to ask the board for $10,000 from the board's own account to supplement the books and periodicals budget line. So that money would be transferred to the book account. And that would allow us to, we would still, I think, not quite be where we need to be in terms of spending for the collection, but we wouldn't be in such a hard conservative spending place as last year. Last year, I would say we definitely were not meeting patron expectations collection-wise. And if the board chooses not to give that $10,000, we would pretty much be in the same space we were.
Are you asking for that tonight?
That is up to the board. It can be a decision tonight. It can wait a little longer. It would be easiest to know now because I plan to give budgets to each of the selectors. So if you don't decide tonight, I can't factor in that $10,000 into their budgets yet.
Well,
But
we opened
either
up
way.
with you, well, you opened up the meeting telling us that we had balances. So the balance in the trustees account was round figures 48,000 something.
Correct.
Okay.
I have the
Okay.
exact number actually somewhere in my
Up here
notes.
too. Is $48,788.09 in the trustee account.
Yeah.
The note there is, I always try to note that the committee has not yet determined what in that what of that amount is still restricted funding versus unrestricted funding. However, I know that there is a lot of unrestricted because of the book sale funds.
Yep.
So I do think there's 10,000 of unrestricted funds there. Plus there are some restricted funds that were meant for the collection.
Right.
So is there precedence for the trustees doing something like this in leaner budget times?
Absolutely.
Okay.
At one point, it was actually a normal thing for a former director to ask the board for 20,000 at a time, for example.
And yeah, so I think if there is, it would be kind of maybe more difficult to explain if this is the first time we're doing it, but since
Right.
there is a history of it, I would feel comfortable with this recommendation, particularly since the trustees are supposed to be the ones running book sale. I would be comfortable with the 10,000.
I'd like to jump on that. Looking at the recent history of the trustees and the use of that account, we have not effectively used it. And because we have not effectively used it, donations have been reduced. So we are basically shooting ourselves in the foot by hoarding money because the community is not motivated to give or to support that fund if we're not actually reinvesting it in our book line. So we really need to do that to bring back the community trust. That's been part of our goal this year, is to kind of, reestablish ourselves as being, safeguards of our library and, helping the community to trust us to do that job. And so that would be a good way to demonstrate that.
Okay. Anything else?
Can you scroll down to the actual spreadsheet for a second? I think the only other thing I haven't mentioned is that, I mean, this was part of the conversation early on, is that we would not be doing a limited time museum pass
Yep. I
that
saw
year as well,
Yep.
this year.
Okay.
I
As much, oh, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I was going to make a motion to accept the changes suggested by Donna to bring our budget down $51,000 to comply with the request.
Painful as it may be, motion by Beth. Is there a second?
I
Second.
I heard Miriam.
Yep.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Yay.
Nay.
That would be a 5-2 vote.
Thank you. Do you want to decide on the 10,000?
Beth,
I'd like to make a motion that the board designates $10,000 from the trustee account to the book line for FY '28
Book account,
book account. Sorry,
That's okay.
27.
27.
Too many
Thank you.
numbers, too
Numbers.
many
Too
years.
many numbers tonight.
I know.
So that's a motion by Beth. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Azra. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Yay.
Nay.
5-2. Okay, very good. Okay. Now that we've all had heart palpitations.
Thank you
Um,
for,
Yeah, thank you for that. I
lot of
I know how difficult
hard
this
work.
is. I know how difficult this, I shouldn't say that. I can only imagine how difficult this is for you. And you're going to be on the front line when our community comes in looking for these items, and you're going to have to share with them that they are no longer available. But again, I trust our community, and if there's enough backlash, again, we will have to talk about it. Okay, moving on to funding request. Replace toilet in main reading room restroom.
So this is what I brought up earlier
Yep.
under my report. So this quote is to cover just the toilet replacement in that one restroom and by the reference desk in the main reading room.
Yep.
My suggestion is to consider replacing 3 at the same time, which would triple the cost of this. I'm not very good at mental math, sorry. $37.50 it would become. And the reasoning for that is I do think, well, I already know that there's another one in the children's room that they're already recommending replacing, just not at the same level of priority. But I just know that there's going to be the next one in line. And it makes sense to do the 3 that are used the most by the public first, in my opinion.
Okay, is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to,
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I just had a question.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it so expensive?
I don't know enough about plumbing to to explain. I could ask for more information from Mainline
because
or
it's
even seek another.
it's a new
quote if you'd
toilet,
like.
it's a 1-year warranty, it's installation.
Yeah, but when you replace the toilet, you have to replace the seal, but usually it's like $200 to $400.
Yeah, but again, a
In
toilet
what world are
for
you
a-
living?
yeah.
I buy
This is
these
like-
things every day. This is
Look it
cheap.
up on Home
This,
Depot right
this is
now.
cheap. This is cheap.
Yeah, I don't
But there's
think so.
also a
Yeah, I think
warranty,
so.
so versus
Warranty
us
service,
installing it,
Yeah.
which I would.
I mean,
not
my understanding is that we're also talking a commercial level
Yeah.
versus a
This is not
residential.
It's not Home
This is not a
Depot.
home toilet.
Yeah,
This is
this
a
isn't
toilet that hundreds
this
of
isn't
people use.
DIY.
It's to last a long time.
What were
Okay,
the
so-
issues with the toilets?
So this one that was absolutely recommended was the issue we were noticing is that it was flushing very slowly, and we were constantly having to plunge it, or it needed maintenance all the time. And then when they looked at it, they confirmed that yes, that is what's happening, but also it's the age of it and the fixtures within it are like piecemeal over time. They're all different ages because it's been fixed so many times.
Yeah,
It's just time.
Frankenstein toilets.
And they're just like, you gotta.
Okay. So that makes sense with the other two if they're already there, and the labor is goodness so much of the
These
cost.
have been clogging for 10 years.
Ma'am, yes.
So
So, I just have a question has the line from that been snaked or whatever as well?
The line, I'm sorry.
The line from this toilet that we've been having problems with, has that been snaked or will that be snaked as part of the installation of the toilet? So we can make sure the line for that one toilet is clear and has no obstructions.
I don't know. I don't know what is included in installation. I can ask.
In my building, that's all included. I would be shocked if it was not.
Well, we've had problems with, we thought stuff was included that we found wasn't, so that's why I'm asking.
I'm happy to confirm as part of me working with them.
Yeah.
I'd
Okay.
like to make a motion.
Yes, go ahead.
To approve $3,750, is that the right amount?
Yes.
To purchase and install new toilets in 3 of the patron bathrooms.
Where are you pulling that from?
There's a contract for 12, do you have the page for the contracts? It's the 1250 times 3.
Yeah, it's the,
Mainline plumbing.
the funding request is
and-
on.
and
Oh, what
where are you
line?
pulling the
Budget
funding?
line?
Yeah, what line?
It should be maintenance.
Maintenance.
I second the motion.
So that's a motion by Beth with a second by Erica. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Hey,
That would be a 6-1 vote. Okay, next.
G-Milk Stews.
Yep. G-Milk stews.
So our contracts, I would say Gmilks doesn't really need to go before the board because it's a contract that's in place until the board chooses to
Okay, all right,
Can't-
so you don't
I don't
need to
even know
vote
the
on
word.
that tonight?
disconnect from Gmilks. But I brought it forth because there were some questions about the dues. I think, Jan, you had brought up some questions by email. So I agreed for the sake of discussion with the full board, absolutely, to bring it forth. I did email that as of the June GMILK's board meeting that their budget was set and voted on. So these are our dues for the year. When I received the invoice, there is a due date of August 30th of 26. And as I noted in my email to you, this the cost difference between this year, and FY26 is a 3.8% increase. I will say, being part of the discussion regarding the GMILK's budget, that there were actually some services cut in order to keep the increase to a reasonable number. They are definitely facing some increases in the van delivery fuel charges. And so that was factored into next year's budget. And of course, we all know inflation-wise, costs are going up. So the fact that they are only increasing by 3.8%, I think, is miraculous. And also another driving factor in that is the fact that the Manchester West branch will remain open. It was funded. Otherwise, it would have driven our cost up more. So that's all the information I
Do you
have to
need,
share
so you
with
do or you don't need a vote on that tonight?
Technically, I don't, but like I said, I brought it for discussion
I would
purposes.
just like, what I had proposed was, is there some way to not pay it all out at once? You know, so that we're not just paying that right to begin with versus, you know, could we, you know, delay a month or two or whatever, since
don't
we're
think
having so
that would
many
be
outgoes right now.
I don't think that would be wise.
I mean, it's due August 30th, so we have to pay by August 30th. If the board directs me to pay it a certain time, I'll obviously adhere to that.
We have a contractual arrangement
Right.
with these folks, right? So I
We
don't
do.
think that we want to.
And that full amount has to be
Contract.
paid out of the budget. I mean, I would rather see it just accounted for.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's no
Um,
benefit to delaying it.
No.
But
Pay now,
that's
pay
my
later. Okay, so again, you do or you don't want to vote tonight?
I don't need a vote.
Okay, then we'll put that to the
And
next
as long
meeting.
as the consensus is
The
to
con-
just pay it
The
now.
consensus is to just pay it.
What would be the purpose of not?
What?
My feeling was we had a lot of things coming out all at one time, and so I was trying to keep our cash flow not being a dramatic, everything goes out now.
I know.
Has to be out right now. So if we could delay that or delay part of that, that perhaps it would be a little bit more palatable going forward, because we're gonna have a lot more expenses, you know, as we get closer to opening up.
I think we had consensus to move
Yeah,
forward.
just to pay it.
Just pay it.
Okay.
Okay, the next
Next
one,
one
value
is
line.
Value line. So this was part of the recommendation to not renew. So I would just ask for a formal vote to not renew this.
I make a motion, sorry, I make a motion to not renew the value line database contract.
Motion by Beth, is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That's a 7-0 vote.
Thank you.
Okay,
Um,
W.T. Cox.
WT Cox is our magazine subscription service that we briefly spoke about. This
It's many pages.
It's many pages because it goes through every single title. This total does reflect the titles that we discussed being removed have been removed from this already. So I know I had to find it too, right there.
Oh, right there.
So it's a total of $4,096.74.
Sorry, would you please repeat that one more time? Thank
Yep,
you.
$4,096.74.
Thank you.
Okay, let's have a motion.
I would like to make a motion to pay the W.T. Cox magazine subscription in the amount of $4,096.74.
And may I just add,
From
this
the
is
book
from
line.
the books and periodicals
Yeah.
line.
That was a motion by Beth. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Erica. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion is 7-0. Okay.
Thank you. That is all contracts.
All righty.
Very
Acceptance of unanticipated funds. And these all have to be separate, right?
The good news.
No,
No,
together.
this can be
Oh,
one
these can be
motion
together.
if
Oh,
the board
good.
so chooses.
Yay.
Would you like me to go through them?
Very quickly,
Okay.
very quickly.
We received there are a couple I don't want to go too quickly through, but the Great New Hampshire Restaurants, which is the company that owns like T-Bones, Cactus Jacks,
Yep.
donated a $25 gift card for adult summer reading. Coffee Berries right in town donated 3 coupons for free medium drinks, I believe, and 3 $5 gift cards also for adult summer reading prizes. Janie's, this was actually thanks to Beth for entering us into, I think it was a raffle, correct me if I'm wrong. The library won $100 towards a future catering order with them. And I would say Beth had a really great idea to actually consider this for the grand reopening celebration.
Ooh.
So
I
I will leave that up to the committee to decide if they want to use it for that. The Dairy Medical Center and Charitable Foundation, this is the $1,000. They gave us some notice that they'd be sending, and the board agreed it should be for Play Away Wonder Books. So that has been received. This one is a memorial gift given by Carrie Berry in memory of her sister Kathleen Ryan. This actually I think also was someone who reached out directly to Beth some time ago, and Beth connected her with me. And we actually met and had a great conversation about her sister, and her family was really looking for a way to honor her sister's memory.
I remember this.
And through our conversations, she really wanted to do something in the children's room, and offered kind of like a reading nook scenario named after her sister. So we actually, Megan, if you could bring up the photo, we did some of our own looking, and we suggested.
Hold on.
Oh yeah,
Makes me so excited.
there's a lot of angles.
That's very
Oh, it's the wrong one. Hold on.
Okay.
I will get it. It's the same one. It just has a. It has a.
It has a mat with it.
That one.
So we suggested this to her as something that we'd be really interested in adding in the children's room, of course, with Jen's blessing. And she was like, yes, this is exactly what we want. And there is a possibility of an additional gift of some books to go with it, but we're starting with just the piece of furniture. So they have given a check in this amount. This amount was what we quoted to be able to get this piece, including shipping. However, I did know, because this is how it's been done historically for a memorial gift, they would really like a plaque for this, and
Yeah.
that traditionally is provided by the library.
Of course.
So I don't have a quote for that just yet,
That's all right.
but that's forthcoming. But with you accepting it for this piece of furniture, we would be able to order it and hopefully have it for reopening.
Perfect.
Exciting.
That would be great. What a
Yeah.
great
Would
way
be
to
great.
Yeah.
honor her
The plaque
sister.
is something that the trustee account
Yeah.
could
Yes.
definitely.
I was gonna say, I would propose that we do the plaque. Get the book.
Absolutely.
Yes, whatever the cost is gonna be
Yep.
for the plaque, that we
Yep.
just agree that we're gonna do that.
We would consent. Not everyone's nodding their head. You bet. We'll do
With
it.
trustee funds or with
Yeah.
Trustee
Yes.
funds.
Okay. I also wanted to add that in our investigating further, actually thanks to Megan investigating further, we learned that the company that makes this is actually local in Keene.
No way.
Yes. And we would be able to order directly to save some money, and possibly even order a second piece of furniture with this same money.
Oh,
You go, Megan.
So thank you, Megan. The only thing is that we have to figure out getting it.
Who has a really big car?
Yeah.
I can help.
I can help.
I can fit my snowflake in the back, so I'm sure.
Road trip.
I've got a truck in the parking lot.
So we can try. My
I have a
car will-
Forerunner. I can haul it.
Yeah, so we were looking at a rocking chair is what we had brought up as part of the CIP discussion.
Yeah.
So we think it would be a great combination. I actually have, because we weren't 100% positive, that I haven't let our donor know yet, but I think she'll be really excited that
She
there's,
will.
we've stretched
Oh, yeah.
the donation as much as we can. So that is really exciting. And then we also had Rockingham Herb Society donated a 1-year membership or museum pass to the Bedrock Gardens. That is located in Lee, New Hampshire.
Yeah, I do.
And
Yeah, very
it is
nice.
great timing because it fits so well with the summer reading theme. So we are happy, and actually because we got that at least a couple of weeks ago, I had staff put it in the system right away because it's only for this season, so that patrons could use it right away.
Yep.
It is a $125 value.
Nice.
And then we also received a donation from Majestic Theater for 4 tickets to their performance of The Secret Garden this weekend, for any of the 3 dates this weekend. And we are doing a similar raffle on Facebook for those, similarly to the last tickets that we received from Philharmonic. So
Nice.
Perfect.
Had a busy couple of weeks.
we have.
Thank you to all the donors.
Yeah, thank you very, very much. Thank you to our donors, our very, very supportive community. Yep.
We have to accept.
Yep, somebody needs to make a motion.
I make a motion to accept these unanticipated funds so generously donated under RSA 202-A:4-C.
That is a motion by Erica with a second by Beth. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That motion passes 7-0. All right. I think that concludes our business for the night. But do you have anything else for us?
I have one, and this has never gone to a vote before. I just wanted to make sure everybody more so knew about it, that I do have with me this evening the paperwork to request the first half of our book budget, that traditionally is signed by either the chair or the treasurer, so that it can go over to the town. So,
You can give it to the treasurer.
okay, sounds good.
You signed too many things. Your hand is.
It's
Oh, my
clicking open
goodness.
more and more tabs.
All right. Oh, yeah, no. Is there anybody here for public comment? Are we sure? Darn, okay.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Yeah.
Before you do that, I would just like to say, as we always end, we are committed to reopening our library and meeting the needs of our community, and we are committed to reestablishing our relationship with and the trust of our staff. Is there any other business that needs to come before this board tonight? Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Beth, second by Erica. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That is a 7-0 vote. Thank you, ladies.